Hey guys, what's up? So much awesome Game of Thrones news we have to dig through. We learned about a brand new book that's coming at the end of the year that may have tipped us off as to when Winds of Winter is coming out and Season 7 stuff. So if you've been gone for a while, be sure to click that bell to enable alerts so that you don't miss any Game of Thrones videos. And there is a new round of the Game of Thrones giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. It's for one of the enhanced editions of the books. So people are just now learning about this, but it's actually a pretty big deal. But it's all about Season 7 of Game of Thrones leading into a Winds of Winter release, leading into another short story set in the Game of Thrones universe. So what I'm going to do is explain what's going on, Winds of Winter update, and then talk about what this other brand new story inside the world of A Song of Ice and Fire is going to be. Because a lot of people feel like it's going to be part of the Fire and Blood Targaryen history book that George R. Martin is making. He's got a warehouse of Targaryen material that he's written for other books that's been cut out that's just waiting to be included in this big Targaryen anthology. So the really big thing first, people have been pounding Reddit, the watchers, everybody that follows Game of Thrones book news have found out that George R. Martin is contributing to a short story book that's being released at the end of this year that's called The Book of Swords. The thing about this that's really important for Winds of Winter is the timing of the book release, because originally it was going to come out sometime early in 2017 with the planned release of Winds of Winter. Originally, they were going to release the Winds of Winter book early in 2017, and the idea that everyone has figured out is that this short story, just because it's not quite as big a deal, would ride on the coattails of that release. So in the way the books feed the show feeds the book release, the bigger books feed the smaller books, it's all one thing at a time. So I'll explain what this new Targaryen stuff that he might be including in this book is, but it just means that because Game of Thrones Season 7 is dropping late June, they don't have an exact date yet, but all signs are pointing towards late June, just a couple months based on the time they started shooting. That's a couple months after when they would normally start shooting. It's all just a matter of playing the dates. They started shooting about 3 or so months later than they normally would, so the season's going to come out 3 months later than it normally would, which would be in April, so now it's in June. So no worries, it just means Game of Thrones Season 7 party happening all summer. But because Winds of Winter has been delayed and this new book is coming out at the end of the year, it just points to a Winds of Winter release at the end of the summer, like a little after Game of Thrones Season 7 ends, before the winter starts. So you just have to imagine that from about the middle of June all the way towards the end of the year will just be dominated by Game of Thrones material, both the TV show and the books. Then because their shooting schedule is going to be similar to Season 7, the Season 8 release will be about the same, so it won't be quite as bad as the wait between Season 6 and Season 7. Plus, we'll have all this new Winds of Winter, short story, Song of Ice and Fire material to dig through. You have to imagine that there's an order of magnitude more book material than there is show material. There might be 10 hours of TV show in a normal season, but there's hundreds of hours worth of material in one of the books. So there is so much Game of Thrones stuff happening later this year to get excited about. And this is something I should really talk about in another bonus video, but Martin has said that he will be including a whole bunch of stuff in the new books that they will never be able to do on the TV show. So people that are upset that Stannis is dead on the TV show, like he has some big twist that he's teasing for Winds of Winter that they'd never be able to do on the TV show. So he's like, aha, you kill my characters that are still alive in the books, I'm going to do some stuff that you can never get away with. So for those that are worried that the TV show will eventually spoil the books, there's a lot of the books that will be completely different from the TV show. But the really important book stuff, for those of you asking what's going on with Winds of Winter, the confirmed preview chapters that he's either read from or released, the POV characters that we know about, are Aeron Greyjoy, the Damp Hair, Arianne Martell, who's not a TV show character, Arya Stark, Barristan Selmy, may he rest in peace on the TV show, Sansa Stark, Theon Greyjoy, Tyrion, who he's actually previewed 2 chapters from Winds of Winter, and then Victarion Greyjoy. So lately he's also revealed that Cersei is going to get a chapter, Bran Stark is going to get a chapter, and Areo Hoda is going to get a chapter too. But because he does cut out a lot of things when he's editing books down, some of those people might get pushed to Dream of Spring, which is going to be the next book after Winds of Winter. So if you're a TV show person who's new to the books, George R. Martin will release samples of chapters before the actual books are done. So when we get to the next book, when we're waiting for the Game of Thrones spin-off to start, there will be lots of sample chapters from Dream of Spring to tide us over. So what I'll do this year is I will do a separate video for all the Winds of Winter preview chapters, because I will be doing book videos when the books come out. Most of my videos tend to be TV show videos just because that's, most of my subscribers come from the TV show, but there'll be lots of book stuff happening later this year. Meanwhile, the new Fire and Blood Targaryen story, the reason for making this video that sort of led people to find out when Winds of Winter is probably coming out, is most likely going to be material that he cut out from the Dance of the Dragons saga that he's been writing novellas for. So if you haven't been reading the books, The Dance of the Dragons is the story of a Targaryen civil war that he's published a couple of smaller books about. So he cut out a bunch of material for that. The first one is The Princess and the Queen. It's based on the real-life War of the Roses in English history. Then later he published another book that was a prequel to that called The Rogue Prince that was about Viserys I Targaryen leading into that conflict. So a lot of you have been asking about the Game of Thrones spin-off. Maybe it will cover this period in Targaryen history because he's written so much about it and it involves so much dragon riding. It's basically a period when a lot of the Targaryen family were riding dragons before they died off. You have all the craziness of a normal Game of Thrones story with the added bonus of crazy dragon rider battles because dragons were such a big deal at this period. It also deals with dragon bonding. It gets into more of the lore of Game of Thrones that he hasn't spelled out on the TV show or in the main books yet either. In fact, it's such a big deal that HBO themselves produced some bonus content like a featurette detailing one of the big encounters during this war. So this is actually narrated by the actor that plays Oberyn Martell. May he rest in peace.
14 days later, a shadow blacker than any passing cloud swept over Harrenhal. Vhagar had come at last, and on her back rode one-eyed Prince Aemond. He mocked Daemon for facing him alone. "You have lived too long, uncle." And Daemon replied, "On that much, we agree." Then the old prince climbed stiffly onto the back of his dragon Caraxes, but neglected to fasten the chains that secured rider to saddle. The sun was close to setting when, as one, the two dragons leapt into the sky. Daemon took Caraxes up swiftly until they disappeared into a bank of clouds. Vhagar, older and slower, ascended more gradually. Up and up Vhagar soared, searching for Caraxes. Sudden as a thunderbolt, a shrieking Caraxes dove upon Vhagar. Locked together, the dragons stumbled toward the lake. Caraxes' jaws closed upon Vhagar's neck, but Vhagar raked open Caraxes' belly, and her teeth ripped off a wing. The lake rushed up with terrible speed. Then Daemon Targaryen, who had never fastened his riding chains, stood in his saddle. He leapt from his dragon to Aemond's, and in his hand was Dark Sister, the Valyrian sword of Aegon's sister queen, Visenya. As Aemond One Eye looked up in terror, Daemon ripped off his nephew's helm and drove the sword down into his one remaining eye so hard the point came out the back of the young prince's throat. Half a heartbeat later, the dragons struck the lake, sending up a gout of water so high that it was said to have been as tall as Harrenhal's great tower. The lake boiled with dragon blood, and then was still.
So Martin has just written a lot about that period in history. That's why people think this secret new book is going to be about that. But the other big theory is that it's going to be new Dunk and Egg from the fourth book he said he's going to write after Winds of Winter comes out. If you don't know what that is, I've done videos about Dunk and Egg before, so I'll add links to that at the end of this. But there are only 3 books right now. He said he's going to continue those, so it'll be a much bigger story, but he's not going to do that till after he delivers Winds of Winter. That new Dunk and Egg book is supposed to be called The She-Wolves of Winterfell, so that'll get you really excited. That takes place about 100 years before the events on the Game of Thrones TV show too. I know everybody loves the Targaryen family. They have such a rich, crazy history. It's so fun to read about. But the history of Winterfell and the Stark family is also super important too. Since the TV show revealed that the Night King was a First Men, I know a lot of you are asking if he was part of the Stark family. That will be my next bonus video that I'll post this Sunday, so it's going to be really exciting. But as awesome as the idea of new Stark history is, it's more likely that he's just going to pull from the pile of his Targaryen edits and just include that as one of these short stories. So it's not like he's writing new material instead of doing Winds of Winter for this short book. It's just that he has all this stuff that he's cut out that just like copy and pasted into this new short story book. So I know now some of you are like, wait a minute, what is all this material that he's cutting out? We want to read this. This is great stuff. He'll include all this in separate books. What will probably happen, like he's done in the past, he always publishes short novellas as he's working on the big new Song of Ice and Fire books. Leading into Dream of Spring, like well after Winds of Winter comes out, he'll probably find ways to release all this material that he's cut out in short blurbs as he goes along. So even if it takes another 6 years to get that last Game of Thrones book, he'll be releasing new Game of Thrones book content every single year. He does that every year. So don't freak out too much, but do get really excited because there will be a lot of new Song of Ice and Fire book material coming out this year after Season 7 drops. And of course, I'll be giving away copies of the book. Right now, the enhanced editions are like the brand new shiny thing, so that's what the giveaways are for. But once the new books come out, that's what the giveaways will be for. But let me know, what do you guys think about the idea of him releasing all this new Game of Thrones stuff at the end of the year? I feel like it's the best possible news. I mean, people have been waiting so long for new Song of Ice and Fire, in addition to waiting for TV show stuff to drop. But now it sounds like it's all happening all at the same time later this year. It's going to be crazy. Congratulations to the new Game of Thrones giveaway winner, Ruben Avalos. You win a copy of one of the enhanced editions of the books. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. There's new Star Wars Episode 8 posting tonight, but new Game of Thrones on Sunday. While you wait for that, you can click here to learn about extra episodes in Season 8, like brand new stuff, and you can click here to learn all about Dunk and Egg. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you in the next video.